after off mic, we could do the game, and I just go, okay, let's guess your social security number and your credit card number.
And your mom's maiden name.
Yeah. Just for fun. No particular reason. Yeah.
Totally. You're such a generous friend.
I really am. And by the way, if you get any fraudulent charges, it's not me, so I'm sorry. I sit on the fence about whether or not sometimes I want to be ignorant to something or if I want to know.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, just tell me all the time. And I think that there are times where friends, family, Jess have like kept things from me to help me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, just tell me.
Yeah. I also feel like I'm like, sometimes I need to be like really hit over the head with something. So like not even just tell me, like don't hint. Just like look me in the eyes and be like, you have spinach in your teeth. Because otherwise I'll be like, I'll be like smiling like, hi.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's funny you said that. I just had spinach last night. So now I'm in my head. I'm like, I brushed and flossed.
No. You're totally
where do we go?
fine. Totally
Before we
fine.
keep going, we should jump into the tea. Have you tried yours yet?
No, it looks
okay.
Good,
So we are. Yeah, it's a little hot.
I like my lukewarm tea. But...
I do, and we don't have a straw for you. For those of you at home with us, this is Vicky's Sponge Cake. This is a black tea. It's bird and blend. As people know me, I love it. It's good.
It's so good. It's so good.
I hold on. Let me try it real fast.
It's delicate, but you get the raspberry.
Oh, I'm getting raspberry. That's fantastic.
Like Victoria sponge. Please, back on the British thing. I mean, sponge cake with raspberry.
I love this. Yeah, for those steeping at home, this steeps it boiling for 4 minutes. This is really good. It's essentially raspberry black tea. It's really good.
It's so good.
I'm so happy that you chose this. So you were a stand-in on Chicago PD.
Yeah.
How was that?
Honestly, it was a really good job. They don't pay you very well. And I had to sign a waiver every single day because I was non-union. So I wasn't able to join the union from that job, which sucks.
They weren't even able to Taft-Hartley you in?
No, not even close. But it was fairly consistent, and the crew was really nice, and they would have us. I mean, they knew we were all wanted to be actors. Nobody's there to be a career stand-in. And so they would let us not just stand there. They would let us run the scene. They gave us the sides. They let us run it for tracking the emotional beats, and sometimes they'd just cut you off. They'd be like, this is a monologue and then they just cut to the, they're like, okay.
Would you actually memorize any lines?
Oh, I loved it. It was all of it felt like working on a show without the pressure of your performance has to be good.
Yeah.
No one's going to see it except for these people. It was practicing every single day. It was amazing.
That was pretty good.
But and one of the reasons that that finally convinced me that moving to LA was the thing I should do is that I forget his name. He was a really awesome guest star, was talking to me, had no reason. He didn't need to, but he was like, no, you don't need to call my stand-in. I'll stand here. And I was like, okay. And he was like, do you want to do this or do you want to be an actor? And I was like, well, obviously I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
And he was like, you gotta get out of here because this is too good of a job and you will stay. And then 10 years will go by and you'll be like, why am I still here? He was like, you should, go for your dreams. So
that's what convinced you to come out here.
Yes, that and that alone.
Well, what's funny?
The word of some Irish.
So this is true. So okay. In order to tell the story of why I'm in LA to you, we need to backtrack for the audience as to how we're connected.
Oh boy.
Because that is why I'm out here.
That's
okay. So I want to hear from your perspective. So for those listening, I was cast in an independent pilot in Chicago called O. Henry. Mm-hmm. That's all. And you were also in O. Henry. Let's go back a little bit, but we didn't overlap. Mm-hmm. What is your experience with O. Henry and that TV pilot experience in Chicago? And even how it happened, how it came across your plate.
It's such a bummer, though. Do you want? I
mean, hit me. I want to hear the whole thing because I only know my side of that experience.
Okay, so
which is weird in its own right.
For me, that was the first time I experienced the level of sexual harassment where I was I might need to call the police.
Oh my God. I don't know this story.
Oh no. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me. Yeah.
That's why I was like, I don't know if we should do
No.
this off
I mean, if
camera.
you don't want to tell, you don't have to.
It's fine.
But I only know, you have to remember, I was like only in my stuff. And then
Yeah.
I essentially like ejected out of there.
Okay. So I went in for like a million auditions for this part that was pitched as being small but significant. Not small, but like supporting. She's Henry. Oh, Henry. She's Henry's ex-girlfriend who's like motivating.
You were my ex.
I was your ex.
Okay, I remember hearing about that role.
Girl next door who's like, broke up with you and started this whole
Hurtful, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. What can I say? So I go in. I'm sure I just submitted off of like Actors Access.
Sure.
I go in for like a gajillion callbacks.
Can we talk about how many there were for that?
So many.
I think I came 8 or 9 times.
And that only to me only reinforced. I was like, this is real. Like this is real. They're like really, really doing this. They want to know my schedule. They have like a real rate. And I never filmed anything. Why
did I think you did?
Because I was in episode 2, and I don't think...
I shot some scenes from episode 2.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, they never made it to mine.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I ejected out for different reasons. It was just one of those things where it was the first time there's one of the producers...
Mm-hmm.
As a woman, you're socialized to be like, oh, yes, everything's fine all the time. And then he kept sort of like getting up to a line, but like not crossing it. And
Jesus.
I was just like, until like one night it was like, I woke up to a bunch of Facebook messages that were like just fully inappropriate. And then an immediate barrage of like, I'm so sorry, I got drunk. Like I obviously was thinking those things, but I know that it's inappropriate to say them. And I'm so sorry, and I will never do it again. And we can be completely professional. Like everything that he like could have said to fix it, he said.
Yeah, but it's also like so skeezy. Yeah.
And I'm like, 23 or something. And I also want to do this job so bad.
Yeah.
I want to be an actor so bad. I'm like, this is a good part in a good project. Like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I hated that, but like, fine.
Yeah, that makes me sad, but I get it.
Yeah, but then it didn't. He was like, I'll never do it again, and then he
definitely did it again.
Yeah, for sure, like a million gajillion times. And then, so then I just like blocked him on everything, and was like, eventually I was like, well, I guess I don't get this job. I guess this is over for me. And I don't know if it was like out of curiosity or whatever, but I unblocked his number, and I don't know how it works when you block someone on iPhone. If like,
I have no idea.
Is it like a garden hose where like everything that was there just like comes through, or was he just like texting me every single day waiting to get unblocked? Like I don't know what happened, but when I unblocked, it came through, and I don't know how much my now husband knew how much I had said, but I was like clearly upset. I was like, oh, did I do something wrong? I sort of allowed this to continue because I was like, I want this job, which like I didn't. And finally I got to the place where I was like, look at me, I'm standing up for myself. Like, no, you can't talk to me like that. And it didn't matter. It only stopped when my husband was like, did his like, big macho thing, which is still, he's the hottie. Once he told him to fuck off, then he actually left me alone. And I was like, so it doesn't matter what I do. Like I told you to fuck off, and I like had to really work myself up to it, and it didn't make a difference. But so then I was like, okay, well, this like amazing job that I was gonna have that was definitely gonna change my life and change my career. I had such high hopes.
I was in there with you, and it didn't change anything for me.
Nothing happened with it.
Yeah. So this is what happened to me. I didn't know any of that. I will say I went through the same number of crazy auditions and was just like, guys, like I have gone all over Chicago for these auditions with y'all. Like
it's not they're not in the same place every time.
No, I was like, are you seeing yourselves making a decision soon? Because this is tiring.
Mm-hmm.
So all this goes down, and they end up this pilot, O. Henry. They cast me as Henry.
Right.
And I was like, awesome. What would follow was like the craziest series of events where like, because I've now done far many more projects than that.
Yes.
I'm a big deal.
I mean,
And all of those projects were like normal. This one would be like, okay, you'd wake up and, they'd be like, okay, we're filming scenes, 2, 4, and 5 tomorrow. And I'd be like, okay, I've memorized those scenes. I'm good to go. And they'd be like, and then I'd get there and they'd be like, okay, so we're adding a car chase today. And I was like, okay, this is supposed to be a scene in an apartment. What,
Right.
we're doing a car chase?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're doing a car chase today. And I was like, okay. And so where does that fit into the plot of what's going on? And they're like, don't worry about that. And this is not, for those that are listening, this is not an action pilot.
It was like a rom-com sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's about, for those that have no idea, this. It's about a guy who's down on his luck, who borrows money from his friend. They pull up to a convenience store. He says, can I get a couple bucks? I want to buy a lotto ticket. And the guy goes, fine, buy me one too.
Yeah.
And so he buys one for each of them. And then my character's ticket ends up being the winning ticket.
Yeah.
And he wins millions of dollars.
Okay.
And then it's like, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
And so like, that's what it's about. Why there needed to be a crazy car chase in the middle.
Just because one day they were like, hey, you know what?
Let's get a car chase going.
Let's be guerrilla filmmakers.
Yeah.
Let's really make some
We also didn't have any permits or anything like that. So it was all guerrilla filmmaking, to your point. We almost got pulled over by the cops. There's like an outtake at one point where like me and one of the other actors were like, holy shit, we didn't get pulled over. This is insane.
Yeah.
Then there were also like background dealings where the co-star who played the guy who bought the ticket with me like was working back channeling and became a producer midway through the thing. And that was like really weird that was all going on. And I remember asking about it and they were like, don't worry about it. It doesn't affect you. I'm like, feels like it does.
Okay.
And so like that was really confusing.
And so he was just an actor and then
all of a sudden was a producer.
Yeah.
And that was confusing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is okay.
Uh-huh.
And then there were also multiple people giving me different directions.
Oh,
So they're
no.
like some producers who were like, hey, like listen, just like don't listen to what this person's saying. Like, and then the other person would be like, hey,
don't listen to
that other person, this is the first time producing. They don't know. And I'm like, what is happening? So I was getting all this different feedback. It was all super confusing. It was hard to have a consistent performance, though. At that point, I was just like, all my performance in the car stuff was pretty much me because I was terrified that I was going to die. Yeah. And we go through all this stuff. They end up using boatloads of my improv because at a certain point I'm just like, I'm not like loving all the lines. So I'm just playing around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fire me,
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you
going to do?
Yeah. So like the whole thing is super weird. I think I saw the pilot once or twice. It was very strange. And then never really heard from them again. One of the producers got in touch with me like 3 years later because he was starting a business and like he was like, hey, follow us on Facebook or like do this, do that.
I remember I got that request as well, I think.
And I was just like, okay, like I don't like great.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
All
And
the
then
best.
like two of the producers were also like on again, off again in a relationship throughout the whole shooting. And that was really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole thing was such a weird experience for me.
Yeah.
But the reason that all led to me being here was two of them asked me if I'd be willing to go to Sundance with them. No, they weren't paying for anything.
Okay.
They were just like, would you be willing to go to Sundance? Like, we can find you a place to stay.
Okay.
You'd still have to cover it. But we're looking to go around Sundance and talk about the pilot, and it would be really useful to have you.
Oh, so I was like, going to Sundance for what? For this pilot? Like bringing this...
They didn't bring the pilot to Sundance. They were going to network and talk about the pilot at Sundance.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, can you do this? And I was like, sure. So, because I was like, I've never been to Sundance. Sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds fun.
So
Great.
I went and like having all these conversations with people and because they were like, hey, like, this producer's there. Can you go talk to them and like see
the charming talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the bait. You're there.
Yes.
And you're like, I can show up and be pretty. And
That's,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. They like had me wear a push-up bra,
Yeah. I'm
like.
sorry. You're just a piece of meat.
I know. I did cat eye, which I never look good in.
It's hard. Cat eye's hard. Liquid eyeliner is hard. Don't be hard on yourself.
But no, so we go to Sundance and I'm like, and I'm talking to all these people and everyone goes, they're like, you like, I love what you're saying. So you're a comedian and you're also an actor. This is great. Let's take a meeting. And I was like, I would love that.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, what neighborhood are you in? And I was like, oh, I'm kind of like between Gold Coast and River North.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is
that?
Where is that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's like on the east side.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, of what?
Right.
And I was like, Chicago. They're like, oh, you don't live in LA. I was like, no. They go, oh, you can just maybe let me know when you move to LA. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That happened, no exaggeration, probably 7 times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and I called my parents from a gas station parking lot. I was just walking around Sundance and called them and was like, I think I'm moving to LA.
Oh.
And they were like,
what a
really?
magical little moment.
Yeah.
It's always in a gas station parking lot.
It is.
Always the most magical moments of life are like, some dingy little parking lot. I love that.
Yeah, and that was it. And then I moved here. That happened in February. Then I moved here in September.
I love that.
Yeah, that's how I got here.
I think I had so many similar conversations where, like, it was just like, oh, and so where are you at? And then you're like, Chicago, and it was like everything that was, sort of within reach was like, oh, okay, well then just let us know when you're there, and you're like, okay, got it. So I need to get the fuck out of here, I guess.
So let me ask you this. So we're maybe probably more than 10 years removed from that whole experience.
Yeah.
What is the dream for you now?
Oh my God. So so many, but
yeah,
I would love to be like really dream.
Yeah.
I want to be a regular on like a soap.
A soap?
Yeah, I love that.
You know how many lines they memorize on a soap?
I know so many.
That's like memorizing a novel every week.
I love it. I want to go to work every day, 9 to 5, and act my little butt off.
Sure.
And then go home. And I want to be on a set that's like already set up and not be on the south side of Chicago at 3:00 in the morning the night before my bachelorette party.
Were you?
Yeah. Outside and so cold and just like laying in the grass, reading one of the Game of Thrones novels and being like, how many hours now do I have until I wake up? And then like I know my friends are coming to get me. Like, I think I had to take a shower when I got home. Ended up being like asleep by 5 in the morning, and my girlfriend came and woke me up at 9 and was like, hey, and I was like, just like fully dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I've been on a few small parts on soaps, and they just like, they turn it around.
How did you get into the soap game? Because that's a very specific area to try and break into. Yeah.
I knew someone who was there who like very, very kindly passed my resume on to some of the other casting directors in there, and then some of them were nice enough, not all, they like, called me in, and I don't even remember. I was like, listen, they were all at CBS, and I was like, I live across the street.
I'll come in when you need me.
I was like, I'm right here, and if someone like I'm here, I am here. And they did. They were like, we need you to be here in a bikini in 20 minutes. Can you make that?
20 minutes?
I was like eating breakfast. They're like, can you make that happen? I was like, absolutely, I can. And then I did.
20 minutes?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I can't even get from my bedroom to upstairs. I'm so lazy in 20 minutes.
I know. I also am that. So that was hard for me, but I was like, anything for you. And so, yeah.
So that's the first call where you go, oh man, that they actually are serious, and I'm there.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it ended up being just mostly like background kind of stuff, but it was enough to get me, it was enough. I was there enough times that now I'm SAG eligible. So that's
amazing.
Yeah. That was like huge.
Once you did it, were they like, man, she did get here in 20 minutes. We can bring her again.
But then that was like right before COVID. And then those soaps in particular really like closed
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Fully like closed ecosystems. Mm-hmm. They were like changing the writing so that they didn't need day players. Like they were like, this is our nucleus. These people come in so that they could keep going because people fucking love their soaps. I
mean, soaps are. Here's the interesting thing: if you don't watch soaps,
and I don't
either. I don't either. If you don't watch soaps, you don't really know a lot that the industry is actually still thriving. Like soaps are still a huge thing.
Absolutely.
Anytime you go into So it's funny. So I go to a barber shop, like a very traditional barber shop when I get my hair cut, because I'm a man.
Yeah.
That's after I get a pedicure.
Yeah.
But I go into a traditional barber shop, and they always have either KTLA, like the news station, local news station playing, or they'll have like some sports thing. That because I never knew that people still watched that like small local news thing, but they always watch it. I went to my doctor's office, soaps. I went to my dentist's office, mix of soaps and local news. And I'm like, okay, so there are all these places that just play these three things.
Yeah. And
I
people
didn't know.
who like watch them and who are so into them that there's like
Yeah.
novella spin-offs that you can, buy at the grocery store checkout line or whatever, wherever
They're
that is.
novelizing all these.
Oh my God, yes. It's like a whole ecosystem unto itself. And I just I love I want to go 9 to 5,
Sure.
act, come home. Like that is the ideal.
So more than a sitcom. You would want that more than you would want a sitcom.
I mean, I love a sitcom. I love a sitcom, and I love most of what I do is like indie movies. So I love that. I
don't know that I've seen a lot of your films.
Oh man, I'll have to send you some.
Yeah, why are you not
I know.
hitting me up?
Yeah.
You have my info? Just be like, hey, I did a thing.
Here, watch it.
Yeah, go rent this.
Yeah, it's like that whole like okay, I guess like post about it on Instagram. So like, what do I do? Here's a picture of my face like every 3 months. Like, hey, I did a thing. I mean, that is what
that is kind of what it is.
I'm just.
So as you are pursuing your soapy dream, I said that makes it sound really inappropriate, and I wish I could take that back.
I was like, no, it doesn't.
Your operatic dream, is that better? I don't know. As you're doing all this, are you still doing like day player stuff?
Like I haven't done day player stuff in such a in such a long time.
So are you doing anything else? Do you do like a side job? Anything?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm a nanny.
Are you really?
And a tutor. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
It would be a really great fit with the same family.
You're
You're like, yeah.
It
I nanny
would.
these kids and I also tutor them.
Yeah.
How convenient. Are you able to find joy in those jobs, or do you view them as solely functioning until you can make a living at what you want to do?
A little bit of both, but so like I've been nannying one family like since I moved out here.
Oh, that's actually kind of nice.
I know.
How long have you been out here?
Since 2018, 2019.
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
And it is nice, and also she's like a great kid, and it's just one kid. I know.
How old is she?
She just turned 8. I know.
Dad. So she's actually kind of cool enough where she has like a personality.
Yeah, totally. And but so like if she sucked, my life would be miserable.
Once they turn 8, because I don't have kids. But like once a kid turns 8, are you still able to like do fun stuff with them? Or are they like, I want to hang out with my friends, and you're just like, okay, I guess I'll just be here?
They do kind of want to hang out with their friends.
That sucks.
I know. It's okay though. It's fine because it's like way less emotional energy for me. I'm like,
so you're just like, cool.
Yeah. I'll just hang out.
Yeah. Do you want me to take you over to Sally's place? Great.
Yeah. And then we just hang out together, and I make sure they don't like drown. And it's like, yeah, cool, chill.
Are they still of the age where, because I always used to like doing this, when you could be like, okay, well, if Sally wants to come over, we could all make brownies.
They love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But they like making slime.
What was that?
Slime.
Like Nickelodeon slime?
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you not know that children are like they're all obsessed with slime? It's disgusting. They like make it with like glue, like Elmer's glue and like something else. Hydrogen peroxide. I don't know. If you go to Michael's, there will be like a slime section, I bet.
What is going on?
And they put like glitter in it. It's all those like ASMR videos on Instagram, and
now
it's like
I'm making it sticky.
Yeah, and it's disgusting.
Sometimes when people nanny, like my friend has a 4-month-old. And they have a nanny.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not arguing the fact that it's probably very fun and cute to nanny a 4-month-old. Lovely. Yeah. But like, what are you going to do with a 4-month-old?
Yeah, you can't like talk to them.
You can't have like a real
What
vibe.
do you like to do on the weekends?
Yeah. But I feel like if you're talking to an 8-year-old, you can be like you could say to them, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of the new Beyonce song that came out? Do we like it?
Yeah.
Do we not like it? Can you do that?
You can. I mean, now you can. It is kind of fun. And sometimes they'll say things that like really sort of, you're like, huh, okay. Like I do have 2 nephews who are old enough that like, feel like, I don't know, they were little. One of them said something to my husband that was like something to the effect of like, did you see that guy? And he's like, what guy? Like we're, you know, in an empty basement or something. He's like, the guy in the corner.
No.
He was like,
no. No.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Have I seen a ghost? Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Tell me your ghost story.
But here's the thing. I was a kid. So like, how reliable is it?
It is. It's reliable.
Okay. My family, during winter break or whatever you used to call the break in like February in elementary school.
Yeah. Like not spring break, but like spring break?
Yeah. Like not, but sort of.
Yeah.
We're
just from a cold place, so spring break is still just like.
I was gonna say I grew up in New York,
inches
so
of snow.
Yeah. So it was very cold.
Yeah.
But we would drive down to see my grandmother. I will never forget this. My sister and I, we had to sleep on a very uncomfortable mattress on the floor of the like the TV room, and I cannot begin to tell you how painful this mattress was. It was just like a rough scenario. Regardless. We'd sleep on this mattress, and my sister and I were up watching TV. We were, and I will never forget this because no one has ever brought this movie up since this day to me. We were watching a movie called Love Stinks. We finished watching this. It was terrible. We finished watching it, and we're both tired, and we're both like ready to go to bed. And I'm like, okay. There are these folding doors, like kind of accordion doors that close this TV room off. They're open.
Yeah.
My sister's falling asleep next to me pretty fast. Like, I'm like, I'm having trouble falling asleep. Like, eyes are closed. And I kind of, do you know that feeling when you feel like someone's looking at you?
Yes, absolutely.
So like
I live for that feeling.
Do you?
No.
So I open my eyes and there is a little girl with red hair and this like kind of like white, like sleep dress kind of thing.
Yikes.
And I'm like looking at her and she's looking at me and neither of us are saying anything and neither of us are doing anything. And I'm just like, and then I turn and shake my sister and I'm like, yo, we got a problem
Emergency,
here.
yo.
Yeah. Because I didn't think this was a ghost. I think this is a girl.
Yeah. You're like,
There's a girl in the
got
house.
in here. Yeah.
So I shake my sister awake and she's like, what? And I'm like, there's a girl in the house.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
My heart is beating
so I'm freaking out.
Yeah, of course.
I get up, I turn the lights on, I go wake up my parents. They're like, what are you talking
Wake
about?
up your parents and everything.
I like look around the whole house because I'm like, and by the way, not a big house. It's Florida. This is a very small one floor place.
Okay.
But I'm like, I was like, there's a girl in the house. You know what I mean? So like I'm looking all around, doing all this thing. Cannot find her.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, I'm talking to my grandmother and I like tell her this and I can't really explain it, but my grandmother like looks at me in a particular way and just goes,
I have so many goosebumps.
Yeah. She just looks at me and goes, let's not talk about this.
Oh, are you kidding? That is the absolutely most unhinged response you can give someone. I will never not think about any.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this for the rest of my life now. What do you mean? Let's not talk about this.
Yeah, and in my head, I've tried to rationalize it as an adult, where I'm like, she probably just meant like this is hoo-ha. Don't talk about this. But that's really weird phrasing.
Yeah.
Let's not
or
talk
maybe
about this.
She's like,
why wouldn't she say don't be silly? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like that's weird.
I know exactly what you mean. That's like I know what you're talking about, and we don't want her to hear.
Yeah, it's almost like I've seen her. Let's not talk about this.
Yeah. We pretend like it doesn't happen.
Who is this girl?
Like everything else, you know. Just
so yes,
don't worry about
that
it.
happened. But again, I was a kid, so maybe you know my mind was wandering. I don't know.
Maybe, and then it's like, okay, like is it time travel? Like that kind of
we don't know
science thing. Like it's a just two timelines that like touched in the wrong, and then you like I can't explain any of that.
I don't know.
Enough, but
have you ever seen? And we're gonna hit our first segment in a second. But but have you ever seen a ghost?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I one time, I don't know that this is actually a ghost, but I was going up the stairs somewhere, and I saw someone there coming down the stairs. Mm-hmm. So. And it wasn't, it's full of tourists. I moved in a way because I was like, someone's coming down the stairs. I just need to move to the other side.
Yeah, logical.
It wasn't in a building. It was like open. I just moved out of the way so she could come down the stairs. And my husband was like, what? And I was like, I looked and it was like a split second of like, I see someone in my peripheral vision. So I move, but there was no one there. But I like so clearly saw, I think also in my brain, she was a redhead. So like maybe only redheads are ghosts.
So ghosts are only redheads. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you see a redhead in real
All
life, they
ghosts
don't
are
actually
redheads.
exist.
Yeah. I think that's the most logical conclusion. we
Redheads
come
aren't
to.
real.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And with that in mind, are you ready to go to the first segment?
Oh, I would be delighted.
Oh, I love that attitude. So the first segment is called the Newly Friend Game. It's like the Newlywed Game, but with friends.
Yeah.
And it could have been castmates at one point. If that thing ever happened. You have a board right over there. You're going to grab that, and you've got a little paper towel in case you need to erase.
Okay.
So it's crazy. Sometimes I come in with preconceived notions about what I'm going to ask for our Newly Friend Game. Yes. Then I had a great idea. Then off mic, we were talking and we started talking about airports. And as someone who travels a lot, now I kind of want to go in that direction.
Okay.
So my question for you, and don't tell me your answer, write it down.
Yes, of course.
Is other than O'Hare, what do you think the best airport in the U.S. is? Or I'll give you, what do you think the worst airport in the U.S. is? You can have either question.
Okay.
And I'll take whichever one you don't take.
I think I want to say my least favorite.
Your least favorite. Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, flip. Oh my God. I almost wrote down Denver.
Wait.
I wrote down Dallas and LAX. You wrote down Denver and JFK.
Wait, I want to change my answer to LAX.
Yeah.
Only because, okay, yes. Denver has like a very weird story about like how someone like died and there's like
the tunnels with the lizards under the thing.
Yeah, and there's like a horse with the statue and also I've been like trapped there before and it was like a nightmare.
I also hate Denver. The airport, not the city.
Right. But I think I did brain fart because the amount of shit that I talk about LAX.
Sure.
I should have written it as my number one hated. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm not trying to just like match what's on your board, I truly do hate LAX with every ounce of my being.
Yeah, I think LAX is a tough one. The way that it is structured is awful.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. I fly American, and there is what I call the 52 gates problem.
Okay.
Have you ever flown American?
Yes.
Okay. So if you fly American and you're not taking a transcontinental, so you're not going to Miami, you're not going to New York, you're not going to Boston.
Okay.
If you're not doing routes like that,
Yes.
if you're going to San Francisco, Denver, Phoenix,
Yeah.
you will often get one of the 52 gates, 52A through I. What that means is you go to Terminal 5 and there's one big gate that says 52. You go there, you have to take a shuttle, and that shuttle takes you to an off-site 52 gates area where you then catch it. It adds another 20 minutes to 30 minutes onto your overall airport experience. That's
a nightmare. That sucks.
It's awful.
Oh.
So yeah, the 52 gates problem is a big one.
Yeah.
But outside of that, if you fly American at all, or you fly even internationally, you have to drive all the way around the loop, and that's the problem.
I think that's just LA as a city is so poorly accommodates any pedestrians.
Yeah.
LAX included, that like getting from one spot, like if you're looking at a map and you're like, it's right there. It's right there. It's like you can't walk across from your short thing. There's
no way.
Just scaffolding and like whatever else is happening. Like you can't walk there at all. You need to wait 15 minutes for a shuttle to come pick you up and then drive you around the whole thing like 2.5 times. And then you get off and you're like, what? For what purpose? What are we doing here?
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And also getting out of there, the LA exit experience, which I like to call Laxit, but Jess doesn't like when I call it that.
I mean, I think it is Laxit, right?
I
know it's exit, but it's Laxit.
It's Laxit.
You wrote Laxit.
Yeah. I go, where's Laxit at?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like you have to like then take a shuttle and then it's a whole to do. It's so frustrating.
It's the worst.
Okay. What we're gonna do for me, because obviously I've expressed my dislike for these airports as well. We're gonna do what my favorite airports in the U.S. are.
And I have to guess your favorite.
You have to guess my favorites, and I'm going to tell you something. There are a bunch that I like, but I'm going to write down 2.
Okay.
They're the unsung airport heroes of the United States. 1, 2, 3, flip. You said West Palm and ATL.
Yeah.
So West Palm PBI is an incredible airport.
It really is.
It is stuck in the 1970s, and
Absolutely.
I love every second of it. Atlanta is a little too big for me. Getting around there's a pain in the butt.
It is a pain in the butt. That was more of a logistical pick. I was
Sure.
like, you're from the East Coast.
Yeah.
If you've traveled at all, you've probably passed through Atlanta. Like,
Yes.
there's a lot going on
No,
there.
I have.
don't
I
know.
have. The ones that I chose are St. Louis
Okay.
and San Francisco. Now, let me explain the both of those picks because I picked them for different reasons.
Please.
Okay. San Francisco to me is the cleanest, best infrastructured airport as
Yeah.
far as like all the water fountains work. Everything is clean. The
Oh, I
restaurants
love
are nice.
that.
There are places to charge your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the way the gates work, it's really nice and easy. All the
It all
signage
makes
is clear.
sense.
Yeah.
You
it's
can
just
get to where you need to be.
it's all just wonderful,
Yeah.
and they make it feel so simple. So I
Yeah.
am like a huge fan of SFO in that regard. St. Louis, and I'm liking this for the very wrong reasons.
Okay.
St. Louis Airport, when you get to the airport, let's say you're flying out of St. Louis, you
Yes.
get to the airport. This is how security works. You go and you go, hey, I'm looking for security, and the guy is reading a newspaper, and he'll look past his paper and go, all right, you don't have any bombs or guns, do you? And you go, no. And he goes, all right, enjoy your flight.
Yeah.
And then and that's the whole thing. And then you're through.
Phenomenal.
It's so easy to get
Love
in and
that.
out. It's called Lambert. It's so easy to get in and out of Lambert. It's just like a very cute little airport.
Love that.
For St. Louis is not a minuscule city.
Yeah.
But it is like
I'm surprised to hear that they're so lackadaisical, but
it really is.
It's just
to
one
the
guy.
point where it really is like one dude who's probably like has a name like Alfredo, who's just there just chilling. It has all the energy of a regional airport in a town of 25 people.
Okay.
And yet it's St. Louis, which is much more than 25 people.
yeah, of course.
But it's just perfect. I do love that airport.
I love that. I love that.
So easy to get in and out of.
You're like, hey, buddy, I'm here. He's like, I recognize you. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
the machine. Just walk on through.
Yeah, sometimes you forget where he is. You come in, you go, I'm looking for security. He goes, I think this is an ice cream shop. You're like, no, it's an airport. He goes, all right, go on through. Just like doesn't care.
That's so funny.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the newly frame game, though. You can put your board down.
Oh,
You've
that's
done
That's
it. You've done the whole thing.
We did it.
You know what's interesting? The number of people who come on this, and we do the newly frame game. It's one question for each of us, who then go, isn't there any more? I'm like, no.
It was fun.
It is
I'm
fun.
ready to do it. Like, there's no, it's only Dylan. We're like, hey, ask us a question.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Let's do it.
So we can do something I really like to do after off mic. We could do the game, and I just go, okay, let's guess your social security number and your credit card number
And your mom's maiden name.
Yeah. Just for fun, no particular reason. Yeah.
Totally. You're such a generous friend.
I really am. And by the way, if you get any fraudulent charges, it's not me, so I'm sorry.
I would never suspect you.
No, and it wouldn't be. Oh yeah, are you enjoying your tea?
It's so
you just reach for it.
delightful. It's like so light, and yeah, people who don't like tea are wrong.
Yeah, thank you. How
Wrong.
did you get into tea?
Well, I don't like coffee. Well, now I do actually, but
So
that's
you just lied to me. That's interesting.
I'm so sorry. I feel like all of the progress from our newly
I
friend game, I
know.
just undid it all.
Strong bond broken.
It's a very recent development. So it's like a tenet of myself that I'm just now reversing. I used to be a non-coffee, anti-coffee person for so long. And I needed caffeine, in college. So I was like, I guess this is
Just tea.
where I'm at. And then I got to like love it. And yeah, now recently I'm like, okay, not all coffee does taste bad, apparently.
Well, you can also, you could play fast and loose with it. You could be like, let me get a latte with like brown sugar syrup.
Yeah.
and
Can I have the milkshake that has like a little bit of coffee in it?
Oh my God.
But
Okay.
see, even to me, I was like, why would you ruin a milkshake that way? Like
With
it's-
coffee.
Yeah, it's delicious. Why would you make it a mocha? Like now it's coffee.
I know, but it's good.
See, there's something, I think I was like just very sensitive to bitter flavors for a long time.
Okay.
And so coffee really turned me off. And now I have experienced I feel like 1,000 years old for even saying this, but like a tiramisu where I was like,
One of my favorite desserts now.
the coffee really sets off the sweet, like the balance of the sweetness and the bitterness. Like, okay, thank you. I'm ready to retire.
You need the bitterness because you put the parsley in the salt water. You know,
Yeah, we're among friends here. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. It brings back,
is a
what is
safe
it?
space.
The tears of something or other.
The
Yeah.
tears of, the slaves.
Yep,
to
yep,
leave,
yep, yep.
and the sweat.
Anyone
and all
who
that.
doesn't understand Passover is legitimately like, what are these two talking about?
I was like going through my RIP Twitter account, just deleting shit because I was like, I've had that since 2012.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're
like, no one needs to know my hot take on the Lost finale.
and
Let me
sadly,
get rid of that.
like none of them were very hot or
Yeah,
spicy
yeah.
or even very funny.
Were you just like, in case I get famous, I don't want people to look through it?
No, yeah. Although I will, obviously. It was nothing like that. I just was, I think I was like, I was looking for a controversial opinion for myself. And I was like, let me scroll back through old Elyse's brain. Like, what hot takes did she have potentially? Didn't find any.
I'm trying to think about like a childhood hot take that I had. I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there anything
strongly held beliefs?
Is there a lot of like things that kids loved that I didn't like? I don't know. I will say that I don't think this is a hot take. There was a show, and I think you and I are somewhat similar in age. There was a show that was called Are You Afraid of the Dark? And my hot take was just, this should not be for children.
Oh,
like,
I love that. I also was not a child who watched Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No.
I could see a commercial for a scary movie and like be under my covers for 2 hours, just like breathing in my own air, hot and devastated. Like, I'm not sleeping ever. So yeah.
I went to sleepaway camp and I was 9. And this counselor was like, "You guys want to hear a scary story?" And I literally, as a 9-year-old, I was like, "What about those of us that do not?"
I love that. You're like, "No."
And he goes, "Then shut your ears." And I'm like, "Okay."
I can't do that.
So I plug my ears with my put my fingers in my ears, and then I can still hear him. So I start breathing a little more heavily, so that way it's kind of blocking the noise.
Yeah.
And then I just hear him be like, "Will you shut it with the breathing?" And I'm like,
he sounds like
this guy was a total asshole.
Yeah, great with kids.
Yeah, it was terrible. and I remember just like I took my fingers in my ears. I was like, "Dude, I'm trying not to hear you."
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything I can.
You're like, "I'd like a reassessment, please."
Yeah, I was like, "Can I get a new bunk?"
This like 20-year-old that you're paying to like take care of children is actually not doing a great job.
He kind of sucks.
Yeah. Surprise. Yeah, that's
he was terrible. I was also a counselor for a GIF.
Same camp.
Yeah. But my counselor style was so different. Number one, no ghost stories in my bunk. But the other thing, it was like I had my own ways of quote unquote like reprimanding the kids. Mm-hmm. Some people would like do mean stuff, take things away from them. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
So like I remember there was a kid who wouldn't stop being loud during, it was supposed to be like bedtime. They were supposed to be going to sleep. He would not stop. They were 11. He would not stop. And I was like, okay, one more time. And the punishment happens. And he's like, I'm not doing it. I was like, okay. Then he got loud again. I was like, get outside. And I was like, okay. There was a flagpole that was probably like, I don't know, maybe 50 yards, not even 30 yards away from our bunk. And I was like, okay. Your punishment is you have to run from the bunk to the flagpole and back as fast as you can. And he was like, okay. So he did it. He did it very easily.
Great.
And he goes, done. I was like, and I had a stopwatch. And I was like, perfect. Now you need to shave 10 seconds off of that time, and then you're done.
So when you started this, were you like, I have a plan in place? Yeah. I love that. Okay.
And he goes, what? And I was like, yeah, that's all you do. And you get to go to bed. He goes, you just want me to run as fast as I could. I was like, well, I'm sure you have a little more in the tank. Yeah. So let's see what you can do. He tried this like 10 different times. Amazing. I said to him, I was like, you can stop whenever you want. And he's like, I'm going to do it. Didn't even come close. I mean, not even in the ballpark.
10 full seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. But he did this run. By the end of it, he's sweating. He's exhausted. And I was like, you want to try again? He's like, I can't. And I was like, he's not crying. He's just tired. Yeah. And I go, you ready to go to bed? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, okay, it's bedtime for you now. But like the other counselors around were just like, what are you doing?
I mean, that's genius. How old were you when you were taking care of these 11-year-olds?
17.
Okay, yeah.
So 18 maybe?
So like not like you're an adult to them, but you're not.
But I'm not an adult.
Right. Like I was a camp counselor also, and I was 19 and they were like 13. And so I was like, I was not. I was so bad at telling them what to do. I was like, we were like sharing clothes and just like hanging out, and like if they got in trouble, like I also was getting in trouble. Like
I loved these kids.
I was like, let's go to the tennis courts and like tan. And the other counselors are like, we're supposed to be, it's rest hour. And I was like, we're resting. We're not doing anything.
Resting
I was like,
on the tennis court.
fully, like,
I would do fun things with them too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, I taught them how to go on a raid. I was like, yeah, like a social raid. You just go, you
Love
make plans
that.
ahead with the girl bunk, and you're like, hey, we're going to hang out. And I was like, just to be clear, if you're going over there, don't do anything I'm not going to approve of. I said pecs are fine. Beyond that, we're done.
Yeah.
No, there's no intense kissing. You're 11.
Yeah.
You know.
But then you're like, I don't want to give you any ideas.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I don't think they even know.
They probably loved you. You were
I
like,
was.
probably the
I
best
had a
camp
lot of fun.
counselor. Yeah.
My other punishment that I loved was this is terrible, and I swear we'll get to the lightning round after this. There was a kid who wouldn't stop rollerblading in the bunk.
Okay. In the bunk?
In the bunk.
But like, so like you see him get the rollerblades, you don't just like slip them on. Like
I
you
was
gotta like unlap. You know,
I was on the porch when this happened.
Okay,
So
I was like, how does he's not like sneaking?
So I
into
heard
his
noise, and I
rollerblade.
came in, and he's rollerblading. I said, "Hey, my guy, you know there's no rollerblading in the bunk.
Yeah.
Come on now." And he's like, "Okay," and then kept doing it. And I was like, "My man, this is not going to be a good thing for you. I'm trying to let you know. I don't want to punish you, but this is what's going to go down. You're not going to like it." And he's like, he's like, I'm sure I'll be fine. And just keeps doing. I was like, okay, come outside. His name was Brett. I was like, come outside.
Oh, it's always a Brett.
And I said, Zach, you need to come outside too. And Zach's like, what did I do? And I was like, Zach, you've been great. So you're going to enjoy this. Come outside. So I had Brett stand on the porch and hold the rollerblades out at each of his sides, one in each arm, which already is hard.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I said, Zach, I took Zach off the porch, and I had him sitting like a decent amount away, probably like 15 feet away.
Yeah.
And I said, I gave Zach a small handful of pebbles. And I said, now, Zach, you can't throw these hard. Can't throw them hard. I'm going to be right here watching. If you throw them hard, you're going to be in Brett's position. Said, but you can underhand loft some of these pebbles at Brett while he's doing this. And so he is just like lofted, and it doesn't. It's not that it doesn't sting. He's not throwing him hard.
Yeah.
But it's annoying.
And it's insulting. Really.
It's insulting, and it's annoying to have to hold these things out while someone's just flicking pebbles at you.
Boys are so that's so funny. You could never do that to a girl. She would start crying, and it would be an emotional thing, and it would be like, oh yeah. Boys, you're like, let's go run around for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Zach also knew he was my favorite.
Also,
and,
Brett kind of loved it too. He's like,
he didn't hate it. Brett was the same kid who I made run back and forth.
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah,
of course
it's
he
always
was.
the same kid. But I will say this: like, did I have to torture him in that regard? Yes. But like later, when we when they had canteen hour, when they went, did I split my Reese's with him? Yes.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't awful.
Yeah, come on.
But I was also like, I one point I had to pull him aside. I said, "Can you just stop doing shit? Like you just keep
like,
doing all this shit."
Level with me, like I know you want some attention. Like I'll give you that
I'll give you it.
attention. Like you don't have to terrorize us all. Let's
Stop
just
doing the shit.
Come on.
And then I thought back in my mind, I'm like, I did all the shit. When I was
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here, isn't it?
Were you a camper as well?
Of course.
Gotta be.
Of course I was. But we're just both like, please, can I have all of your attention all the time? It's like, look at me's. And, now
Is
we're
that
like,
what we are? Look at me's?
Yes. Yes. You get up on stage every night because you're like, I have things to say. Here are the people. They're coming to listen to me. And I'm put me in front of a camera.
Greatest stand-up show you've ever seen.
I came back, didn't I?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, I hate to do this because I do love talking to you, but are you ready to go to the lightning round?
I mean, I'm preparing myself.
Okay. Emotionally or physically?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like some meditation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's jump in. If you need a moment, we could take a break.
No.
So it is 5 fast questions. They do not at all have to be fast answers. It's the same 5 questions we end every episode with. And I keep them on an index card because while you're on a soap, I'm going to be doing late night.
Oh my gosh, love that. And I would love to be a guest.
No, we'll have you on.
Yeah.
Primary guest, not B segment. Primary.
Oh. So
Question 1.
Yeah.
What is a favorite ritual of yours? So mine is brewing tea in the morning. What would yours be?
So I was thinking about this a lot because I'm obviously a huge fan of the podcast, so I knew about these questions.
You're a steeper. I love it.
I am a steeper. My husband makes the tea in the morning. So I just get to drink it, which is
Lucky.
so great. He gets up a little bit earlier than I do, so it's like it's perfect temperature really for me to when I drink when I
Through
get
the
up.
straw, yeah.
Yeah. I know. If you are worried about staining your teeth, you drink through a straw. It helps a lot.
I'm curious, like for anyone who's listening to this, DM us because we get weird DMs after every episode. DM us about this one. Have you anyone who drinks tea with a straw? DM us. I want to know.
I am the only person in the world, but I'm happy to share that secret and tell people you can still drink your tea and have your white teeth. You just use a straw.
Yeah, I will tell you, we've gotten DMs about weirder things, so we'll see. We'll see if this one pans.
But so that ritual is not really mine. I think my ritual, and again, this is so boring and old lady-ish, but I like going grocery shopping on one day, usually a Sunday.
Okay.
And then I come home and we cook a lot.
Yeah.
I will prep all the veggies one day. Done.
It's what we do.
And then, I mean, I'm not like reinventing
We
the
now
wheel
have the
here.
spiralizer, whatever it is.
You guys are gonna have your salads are gonna be unbelievable. You're all the same size ingredients. I mean, it's really a game changer. Anyways, I love doing the prep. I love the mindless working with my hands, listening to a book or something.
Sure.
Probably, steep conversations,
Oh,
peeling some carrots, and then throughout the week, it's like, what are we doing for dinner? Doesn't matter. Boom, done in the oven. Everything's ready to go. That's love. That's my ritual that I love is prepping the week of
prepping the veg.
Prepping the veg.
Question 2. What is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
There are so many that make me laugh, and I'm like worried that they don't translate well.
Good.
Though, yeah, right. Makes for a better story. So as I said, my husband and I, we live in a very small apartment. And we've had many bits throughout the years.
You gotta.
So many bits. But one that I particularly love is that sometimes when we pass each other in like the one hallway or any doorway to any room because they're all right there, is it sometimes like I will very formally bow and be like, sir? And he's like pretends to take his hat off. He's like, ma'am.
Love.
As if we don't see each other 8,000 times in 1 hour. Just like, sir. He's like, ma'am.
I love that.
That's it.
I will often, if I like, if Jess is working in the kitchen and like I'm working upstairs and I come down, I'll look at her and be like, do you come here a lot?
That's so adorable.
And she,
I love that.
Well, sometimes she'll play along, and other times she'll be like, yeah, I live here.
Yeah. She's like, not now.
Yeah. She's like, I will kill you. I'm like, oh, great.
Cool.
Perfect.
Cool.
Question 3. What is a very controversial opinion that you have?
Okay, here's an opinion. I don't know. It is definitely a hill I'm willing to die on. I don't know that it's that controversial.
Okay.
I think that everyone's phone should never make noise ever, like in public.
Okay.
Like people who have a ringtone on are like psychotic to me. And if you're watching a video like with full volume and no headphones, you should go straight to prison.
I was going to say hell or prison. Prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's worse.
Yeah, no doubt. Yes, I don't understand anyone that has a ringtone. It's incredibly confusing.
Yeah.
The only time I will use a ringtone, because I used one very recently.
Yeah.
I was putting together furniture for Jess and didn't want my phone in my pocket because I was like working with a bunch of tools and stuff and I didn't want to mess with that. So I put it on the table, but I was also waiting for a delivery. So I turned on the ringer.
Okay. But you were in your home putting something together. I think that when people are like watching videos like in an airport or
oh
on
my
a
God,
bus,
that just happened to me like
and
a few
it's
weeks ago.
What do you think? Like, even like, do you think people want to listen to this with you? They don't.
Part of me, so I've never done this, but I thought about doing it. Part of me sometimes just wants to walk up to them and like comment on, like, so let's say the video.
Start watching it with them.
Not even that. Let's say the video is like, I don't know, what's a good example? Let's say the video is about the movie Oppenheimer and its special effects. Sometimes I want to come to them and be like, is that really true? Do you think that's true?
But the only problem with that, because that's
they
hilarious,
might then engage with you.
Yeah, and then you're like, eject, immediate, like abort. I don't want to talk to you at all. I don't want to talk to those people.
Question 4.
Okay.
Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there one moment that really sticks with you?
Honestly, so my job as an actress is like so unbelievably weird and like unexpected that there's really no way to be like, this is normal. Like this is normal.
I should feel
fine.
this.
Right. It's like, it feels like the whole thing is like a fake it until you make it. And so I think the answer to that is like, I'm kind of constantly battling against feeling like an imposter. And also the metronome is like, I suck at everything and like, I'm the best ever. And it's just like constant back and forth. I never, when I'm with other people who I consider to be more talented than me. It is always, instead of it being like, this is so scary and I'm gonna fuck everything up. It's a little bit more like I know that I will rise to their level. So that's my favorite thing, is to be the like least experienced person in the room, because everyone else is going to make me so much better, which is very selfish. Sorry, but I always want to
so healthy
hang out with like the best, most talented people that I know, because then I'm better for it. So in that, I'm not really like bringing anything to the table there, but
no, I mean, I wish I could feel that way. I remember when I was in a room with like Meryl Streep, Leo, and Robert Duvall, and I was just like, guys, get to my level.
Listen, everyone who's an actor is just walking around being like, yeah, I can act like this. Like, nobody's like, even Meryl Streep is just some lady who's like good at what she does. Like, it's not like no one's doing brain surgery here. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, so part of it is like, you have to be like, listen, the stakes are not super high.
No.
You can't get too in your head, because otherwise you're just gonna. That said, feel like I'm the only person who you've had on the pod without like a special on something, and it does feel a little bit like I won Make-A-Wish. And
no,
I'm just like, hi, I'm here.
Oh my god! Every time I get someone I like on this pod, I'm like, is this my Make-A-Wish? No, not at all. I hate to say this is the final question.
Oh my god!
But it's a question I'm so stoked for your particular answer.
Okay.
What is your favorite tea?
I was telling you, I just got back from Japan, and I had never liked green tea, and had hojicha or maybe one of the roasted teas. And was like, I want to drink only this for the rest of my life. I think that might be my answer. Hojicha. It's so good.
When you leave, I'm going to scoop you in a to-go bag.
Oh my God.
Some Kiku Hojicha. It's a really, really good.
Nice of you, please.
Yeah, it's a super quick steep at a boil, no less, and it is wonderful.
That's so nice of you. I was like, should I bring you some tea? And then I was like,
You brought tea cake, which I'm going to be eating as soon as you're gone.
And it's dairy and gluten-free.
Did you make it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's a little tea. It was. I just threw it together. Please. I live here, but I'm a Midwestern gal at heart. I'm going to bring a homemade baked good. I'm like, hi, thank you so much for having me.
No, this was amazing. Well, that's the pod. How do you feel?
Pretty good.
Good?
I hope I was like, engaging and funny, and again, this is my Make-A-Wish episode.
This was phenomenal. And if we get DMs about the straw specifically, I will let you know.
I'm so happy to share the brand of Amazon straws that I picked, and I do put them in the dishwasher if that's a question. Yeah, great.
Good. Well, thank you for coming. You can come back anytime.
Thank you.
That was Elyse Cantor. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at ElyseDC. This episode was produced by Dylan Rosenthal. It was edited by Martin Alvarez. Our theme song and additional music are by Oliver Hymack. Our cover art was done by Neil Fraser with photography by Matt Mazisco. Social media by Dia Villegas. Please write a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you can. You can send any questions, comments, newly friend game suggestions, or tea suggestions to steepcombos@gmail.com or tweet us at steepconvos. I'm Josh Lanzette, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Josh Lanzette. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping. What did I do?
I mean, you were supposed to be kind of like a mess, right?
I was. Yeah, no, I was a total mess.
Okay,
Slept on my friend's couch. Just a waste.
Right. Yeah. Please. If you sleep on a friend's couch,